pause for a moment. Stop what you are doing. Now breathe. But this time, be conscious of it. Feel the air entering your nostrils, traveling down into your lungs, expanding your chest. Feel the simple miracle of being alive, because most of us breathe without ever truly breathing. We draw oxygen into our bodies out of pure biological necessity, a mechanical reflex we never notice. Unconscious, invisible, forgotten. We are not simply inhaling air. We are inhaling spirit. We are drawing the voice of the universe into ourselves. We are participating in an exchange so sacred that nearly every ancient language understood it the same way. In Hebrew, the word for breath is ruach, which also means spirit. In Greek, it is pneuma. In Sanskrit, it is prana. Across continents and centuries, separated by oceans and vastly different cultures, the ancients all knew one truth. The breath is not a biological function. It is the tangible evidence of the intangible. It is the hinge upon which heaven and earth meet. Here is what changes everything. You do not need a lifetime of practice to touch the divine. You do not need years of meditation in remote temples or decades of disciplined training. The ancient wisdom traditions discovered something startling, something that modern science is only now beginning to confirm. Sometimes, just sometimes, only 6 seconds of conscious breathing can reconnect you with eternity. 6 seconds, that is all. 3 seconds to inhale, 3 seconds to exhale. A cycle so simple, so humble, that it is easy to dismiss. And yet within those 6 seconds, something profound shifts. Your nervous system enters a state of profound coherence. Your heart rhythm harmonizes. Your brainwaves settle into meditation. Your energy field expands and realigns with the cosmic pulse that animates existence. This is not new. This is an inheritance, a legacy whispered by yogis, Sufi mystics, alchemists, and sages across every tradition. A knowledge that was guarded carefully because those who truly understood knew something crucial. Whoever controls their breath controls their spirit. Whoever masters the breath masters consciousness itself. Today, we journey into this recovered wisdom. We explore how a simple rhythm, 6 seconds, can transform not only your physiology, but your entire relationship with the sacred. We discover that the connection to the divine was never distant. It was always here, waiting, hidden in the simplicity of your own breath. In the ancient world, the breath was never merely a biological process. It was sacred. Across every civilization that possessed genuine spiritual knowledge, the inhale and exhale were understood as a cosmic ritual, a dance between the human being and the divine that occurred silently in every moment. In ancient India, the Vedic rishis spoke of prana, the vital life force that animates all existence. It was not simply air. It was subtle energy flowing through invisible channels called nadis. To control the prana was to control life itself. From this understanding emerged pranayama, a science thousands of years old that did far more than regulate breathing. It opened doorways to higher states of consciousness. The sacred text, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, declares with absolute clarity, when the breath moves, the mind moves. When the breath is still, the mind is still. In other words, to breathe consciously is to master the mind, and to master the mind is to touch infinity. In the mystery schools of ancient Egypt, the breath was seen as the manifestation of Ka, the vital energy of the individual. Initiates learned to breathe with conscious intention, not merely to revitalize the body, but to purify the soul and prepare it for eternal life. The god Amun, whose name literally means the hidden one, was invoked through breathing techniques that expanded consciousness itself, because the breath was the invisible current connecting the human soul to the divine. In Hebrew tradition, we find the word ruach, meaning both wind and spirit. In the book of Genesis, it is written that God breathed his breath into clay, and humanity came alive. Each human existence began with an act of divine breathing. Every inhalation is thus an echo of that first creative exhalation. The Taoist sages spoke of qi, the vital energy circulating through body and cosmos. In practices like qigong and inner alchemy, breathing was fundamental, not only to prolong life, but to refine the spirit and achieve spiritual immortality. The teaching was that the true human breathes from the heels, a profound metaphor suggesting a breathing so deep and rooted that it unified heaven and earth within the practitioner. Even in pre-Columbian cultures, the breath held sacred significance. Shamans across Andean and Amazonian traditions used breathing techniques combined with song and ritual to enter altered states, commune with spirits, and heal the body and soul. What united all these traditions? A singular essential truth. The breath is the frontier between the visible and invisible, between matter and spirit, between the human and the divine. Imagine your body as a temple, a sacred place where every organ is an altar, and every heartbeat marks time for an eternal ritual. Within the center of this temple lies a key so simple yet so powerful that turning it opens the threshold between your inner world and the divine. That key is your breath, and the secret combination is 6 seconds. To understand its power, we must first unveil its structure. The cycle is deceptively simple. 1 complete breath lasting 6 seconds, 3 seconds to inhale, 3 seconds to exhale. It may seem too elementary to hold transcendence, but therein lies its magic. When you inhale over 3 seconds, you expand your energetic field and open internal channels through which prana, ruach, qi, the very force of life, flows freely. When you exhale over 3 seconds, you release physical tension, mental turbulence, emotional heaviness. You surrender back to the universe what no longer serves you, purifying your vibrational field. Each cycle is a micro-ritual of death and rebirth. But why 6 seconds specifically? Ancient wisdom converges with modern science. Recent research on cardiac coherence has demonstrated that when we breathe at 5 to 6 breaths per minute, the heart, nervous system, and brain enter profound physiological harmony. Heart rate variability optimizes. Brain waves stabilize. The parasympathetic nervous system, governing calm and restoration, activates fully. The esoteric texts did not speak of cardiac coherence. They said simply, when the breath and mind become one, the soul remembers its origin. The 6-second cycle is the gateway to that state. But something even deeper occurs. When you breathe this way, you reorganize your energetic body. In Hindu tradition, irregular breath blocks subtle channels. Rhythmic breath allows energy to flow unobstructed, awakening expanded consciousness. Sufi mystics knew this too, combining breathing with sacred sound, harmonizing the heart's vibration with the universe itself. When you breathe consciously in 6-second cycles, you synchronize your entire being with the hidden pulse of the cosmos. For a moment, you cease to be isolated and merge with infinite existence. The illusion of separation dissolves. the scattered mind becomes still. And in that stillness, the vast presence the mystics call the dwelling place of God emerges. This is not merely relaxation. This is communion. When you sustain the sacred rhythm of 6 seconds, 3 to inhale, 3 to exhale, something profound occurs within you. You attune yourself like a forgotten instrument. The breath becomes the melody, and you become the string vibrating between worlds. Let us begin with the body. When you breathe slowly and rhythmically, the vagus nerve, connecting brain to heart, lungs, and organs, activates. This is the master bridge of the parasympathetic nervous system, responsible for relaxation and regeneration. 6-second breathing reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. Blood pressure falls. Digestion improves. You purify and harmonize your physical vehicle. Now let us turn to the mind. When respiratory flow stabilizes, activity in the limbic system diminishes. Brain waves enter alpha and theta ranges, associated with deep meditation and intuition. The constant noise of thought quiets. The mind transforms from turbulent sea into serene lake. In that serenity, witnessing consciousness awakens. Here, all spiritual traditions converge. When the mind stills, the soul awakens. The yogis called it samadhi. Christian mystics called it contemplative prayer. Sufi masters called it fana, dissolution of ego into the divine. All begins with the rhythm of breath. But there is more. When you sustain this breathing with intention, your energetic field expands. In Hindu tradition, prana flows more freely through chakras and nadis. In Hermetic alchemy, this state distills internal energies, refining dense emotions into higher consciousness. You synchronize with the universal field itself. The universe also breathes. In Hermetic cosmology, there is the cosmic breath, the eternal rhythm of creation and dissolution. When you breathe consciously at this rhythm, you align with that universal pulse. You cease to be separate and become a conscious cell in the body of the cosmos. Then the greatest mystery unfolds. Separation dissolves. The ego fades. Silent unity emerges. Not a thought, not an emotion, a direct knowing more real than any word. It is homecoming, returning to the origin. This is connection with God, not as external figure, but as the direct experience of the sacred sustaining all existence. Knowing the secret is only the beginning. True transformation occurs when knowledge becomes a living practice, when it incarnates in your daily gestures, when it ceases to be a beautiful concept and becomes a way of inhabiting the world. The breath is the cord that binds you to the divine. If you learn to attune it with constancy, your entire life becomes a prayer in motion. Here, I share 4 practical and profound ways to integrate 6-second breathing into your daily existence. First, the morning ritual of connection. Before you check your phone, before you speak, before you surrender to the day's demands, sit or recline. Close your eyes and place your hands on your chest or abdomen. Perform 10 cycles of 6-second breathing, 3 to inhale, 3 to exhale. With each inhalation, visualize absorbing light, life, and purpose. With each exhalation, release tension, fear, and distraction. This simple ritual aligns you with your center from the first moment. It prepares you to act from clarity, not automatic reaction. Second, the breathing anchor. Throughout the day. The modern world is a relentless stream of stimuli. To avoid being swept away, Decide that each time you perform a routine action, opening a door, washing your hands, checking your watch, you will perform one cycle of conscious 6-second breathing. These islands of presence, scattered throughout your day, keep your energetic field clean, your mind focused, and your heart at peace. Third, emotional cleansing breath. When you feel anxiety, anger, or sadness, pause. Rather than reacting or suppressing, close your eyes and perform 5 to 10 cycles of 6-second breathing. With each exhalation, imagine expelling the dense emotion as dark smoke. With each inhalation, imagine absorbing clarity and equanimity as golden light. Within a few rounds, the internal knot dissolves. You have transmuted the emotion's energy. Fourth, the nocturnal seal of integration. Before sleep, give yourself 5 minutes for conscious breathing. As you inhale, review with gratitude the moments that nourished you. As you exhale, surrender your burdens and worries to the universe like leaves falling into a river. This cleanses your energetic field before sleep, facilitating deep rest and renewed awakening. These are rituals of reunion. Each time you breathe consciously, the inner temple illuminates. Remember, not duration, but constancy. 1 minute daily surpasses 1 hour sporadic. Gradually, your entire life becomes a sacred breath. We have walked a path that, though brief in words, is vast in depth and consequence. Today, you have not merely heard about the breath. You have remembered a sacred technology that was always within you, silent and patient, waiting for you to turn your gaze inward with reverence and intention. In a world that teaches us to seek outward, the breath is the compass, pointing toward the interior. It is the first action we perform at birth and the last we execute at departure. Between those two breaths, the one that opens us to the world and the one that releases us from it, our entire life is contained. And yet, how many times do we breathe without recognizing that in each inhalation and exhalation we touch the eternal mystery? It is not an exaggeration to say that the breath is God's signature within us. Not a belief, not a dogma, but the direct experience that something vast sustains us, moves us, animates us at every moment. When you breathe consciously, you cease to be a mere actor and become a co-creator. You align with the eternal pulse that beats in the stars, in the waves, in the seasons, and in your own chest. Today you have rediscovered the sacred cycle of 6 seconds. 3 seconds to receive life with humility and openness. 3 seconds to surrender to the universe with trust and grace. A rhythm so simple, so humble, that it is easy to underestimate. And yet, as the ancients taught, what is small and constant vanquishes what is large and unstable. This video is not a closing. It is an invitation to experience, not merely to understand intellectually, because everything we have explored will only become true when you practice it with consistency and devotion. When each morning you begin your day with one conscious cycle. When each night you seal your journey with a sacred exhale. When, in the midst of life's storms and trials, you remember that your refuge is only one breath away. I invite you to make your breathing an act of devotion, not toward something external or distant, but toward the eternal spark dwelling within you. Because when you breathe consciously, God breathes with you, the universe breathes through you, and you, finally, return home to what you have always been. Between you and the divine, there is no distance, only a breath.